Yo, what's going on, guys? Jesus TV back with another video, and the 1 week of the season where the Packers don't play is here. And obviously, it doesn't seem like it matters, but the Packers are still in playoff contention, so I'm still going to have some hope here for their season. So, yeah, let's just take a look at all of the Week 14 games. I don't really want to talk too much. I watched these games for sure, but I didn't watch a shit ton of them. I didn't watch, every last game. Raiders Rams. I watched damn near all of it. That was a really good game. We're gonna get into that. The Thursday night game, Raiders and Rams. Baker Mayfield cooks. Newcomer Baker Mayfield rallies the Rams past the Las Vegas Raiders. They win by 1. Waived by Carolina on Monday. Claimed by the Los Angeles Rams on Tuesday. After crossing the country on a flight, he got one short practice with his new team on Wednesday, and he was ready to go. And clearly, he came out Thursday, and he was, looking at the box score here and the leading performers, you have Derek Carr. He went 11 for 20 with 137 yards. He threw 2 interceptions, though. And we did really get a masterclass type of Baker Mayfield performance, going 22 for 35, throwing 230 yards and a touchdown. I believe we got a really good Baker Mayfield performance. The running backs, they played all right, but I'm not going to talk about them. Devontae Adams, through the loss, he ended up with 3 catches for 71 yards, so he's still getting over half of the team's receiving yards, which is crazy. Ben Skowronek, great player in this league. He had 7 catches for 89 yards, so he put on a show, man. That's all I'm going to say about that game. Baker Mayfield throwing dots left and right. Ben Skowronek had a huge catch on that game-winning drive. But, yeah, that was a really good game. That was probably one of the better games of the week. Let's move on. A lot of come-from-behind victories came on primetime recently, and the NFL scriptwriters just continued it on. So let's just move on with the Jets and the Bills. The AFC leading Bills overcome Elements, beat Mike White and the Jets. They won by 8. Von Miller's their big veteran guy. They don't want to ever let them down, and Greg Rousseau kind of led the Bills' defense out here. I'm not going to talk about the highlights, Mike White went 27 for 44. That's really about it. Josh Allen, 16 for 27 and a touchdown. Not a great game offensively. I guess there were some moments for these teams, but there's really not much here. Garrett Wilson ended with 6 catches for 78 yards. I am damn near convinced that this guy is Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Chris Olave's kind of had a decline. I'm not really sure about it. I think Garrett Wilson will end up winning, honestly. He's just such a good... I think he's a better receiver than Chris Olave, regardless of the numbers. If the numbers say otherwise, I don't care. He's literally the better player, I think. He runs routes really well. He's fast as fuck. He can make moves in open field. Garrett Wilson's that guy. Dawson Knox had 4 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown, and that wraps up that game. I didn't really watch much of that game. Same goes for this Browns-Bengals game that happened. It was division week, so it was pretty fire. There's a couple good division matchups. Joe Burrow and the Bengals topped the Browns by 13 for their 5th straight win. Yeah, man, let me tell you, the Bengals are looking good. They were at 500 before this big run, and now they're at 9-4. So, Joe Burrow doing a decent amount offensively. The Bengals defense stepped up. The Battle of Ohio recently has gone into the Browns' favor, but the Bengals defense stepped up this time around and looked pretty good. And I keep forgetting that Deshaun Watson's playing. The guy threw 26 for 42, had 276 yards and a touchdown. Definitely a better game than his return game. He did throw a pick, though. Joe Burrow did as well, so it doesn't really matter, honestly. Joe Burrow, though, 18 for 33. 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. Great game there for Joe Burrow. Did throw a pick. It is what it is. Joe Mixon is finally back for the Bengals. That is awesome to see. And he put up 14 carries for 96 yards. So the guy is still kind of has his mojo returning to action. Damian Peoples-Jones, Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's been a very, very important player for the Browns. He had 8 catches for 114 yards, great game there, as well as Jamar Chase going for 10 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. So both of those receivers played well on Sunday. Texans-Cowboys, I watched like the whole fourth quarter of this game. There was another local game. I can't quite remember what it was, but we'll have to get into it. Yeah, I think it was Giants and Eagles. It was just an ass whooping. So they decided to put on They decided to put on this game late in like the game. But yeah, Texans-Cowboys. Cowboys scored late to avoid a major upset. They beat the Texans by 4. This probably would have been the biggest upset of the year had it have happened. Dak Prescott on his own goal line, getting a second chance after making plenty of mistakes in this game. He threw an interception moments ago. The Texans were looking like they were going to finish off a shocker. Like, this would have been a shocker game. But, nope. Shout out to the Cowboys. They locked in just in time, and they decided to go win the football game. So, looking here, Davis Mills went 16 for 21 through 175 yards. He did throw a pick, but Dak Prescott was full of those. It's very unfortunate. He threw 24 for 39, had 284 yards and a touchdown. He threw 2 picks, and those picks almost cost the Cowboys the ball game. Yeah. Let's just look at the receivers. Chris Moore playing spectacular. There's not really a lot of people in the Texans to target, but Chris Moore is there, getting 10 catches for 124 yards. Great game for him. Dalton Schultz, a premier tight end in the league. He had 6 catches for 87 yards. So both of those guys playing fairly well. Looking at the Vikings and the Lions game, this is kind of a shocker. It's obviously not as bad as the Texans beating the Cowboys, but the Lions, man. Jared Goff helps the surging Lions beat the division-leading Vikings. They win by 11. Drafted back behind an offensive line. This offensive line gave him protection. He threw 2 really deep balls down the field. Big play. He has big play receivers that the Lions added recently. So yeah, namely Jameson Williams out of Alabama, finally taking advantage of a guy like that. I don't know if he was injured and whatnot, but let's just take a look here. Kirk Cousins is fucking crazy at times. Obviously, he has bad game. This was a really good game, though. Kirk Cousins, 31 for 41, 425 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The guy was going off, man. Jared Goff, 27 for 39, 330 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So he had a good game of his own. Holy cow, Justin Jefferson. Good fuck. CJ Moore had a really big 42-yard carry, so that's kind of the highlight rushing-wise for the Lions. Justin Jefferson, very reminiscent of the Jamar Chase performance we saw against the Chiefs last year. And it's very funny because obviously they were LSU teammates. Dude, man, Justin Jefferson, man. 11 catches, 223 yards. He didn't score a touchdown, but I overheard that he got 33 fantasy points. DJ Chark as well. Great game for DJ Chark. 6 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. So, Lions and Vikings had their fair share of stars in that game. That was a great game offensively. Jaguars-Titans, Jesus. The Jaguars just go crazy in certain situations, I suppose. Trevor Lawrence throws 3 touchdowns. The Jags end a skid and beating the Titans by 14. Visiting Nashville has been nothing but misery and agony for the Jaguars for too many years in this division. Usually when they go to Nashville, it doesn't go well for them, but hey. Sure as hell went well for them this time. Trevor freaking Lawrence, masterclass. 30 for 42, 368 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He has been killing it in this league. Ryan Tannehill, 25 for 38, had 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, though, but obviously not just that costing the game, given that he lost by 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry. Great game for him. Getting 17 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. One of the better running backs in the league, of course. So there's that for you. Evan Ingram. He caught the lights out. He didn't shoot the lights out. We're not talking about basketball. He caught the lights out. 11 catches, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of the better receiving performances in fantasy this week. Let's see here. 12, 28. Dude, that's like 39 fantasy points. Looking at Austin Hooper, though, he had 5 catches for 68 yards. Just a good battle between the tight ends there. Obviously not very comparable, but yeah. Eagles-Giants, a division matchup we always look forward to, but guess what? The Eagles are just so much better. I mean, they're literally like 4.5 games ahead of the Giants. So, man, can the Eagles finish this season 16-1? Are they going to be the second team in NFL history to win 16 games in a season? I mean, they're not going to be undefeated, but that's still a huge feat. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles clinch the playoffs with a 26-point win over the Giants. Not even close. And yeah, the Eagles are obviously the first team in the league to clinch a playoff berth. Nailing down a playoff berth was first thing on the Philadelphia Eagles wish list for this season, and they got that and spare change. They want more, and with the league's best record and way they continue to blow out opponents, who's really going to stop this team? I mean, they have offensive hierarchy. They have so many guys on offense that can perform. I mean, Jalen Hurts went 21 for 31, had 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones, 18 for 27 and a touchdown. Miles freaking Sanders, one of the most underrated running backs in the league, 17 carries, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyrod Taylor got in for the Giants, and he ended with 2 carries for 40 yards. I mean, obviously we knew him as a mobile quarterback coming into the league there. And really, all that else there is to talk about is A.J. Brown's performance. I mean, 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. So there you go. A.J. Brown has a pretty solid game there. Let's just move on. Ravens-Steelers, another division matchup. This was a pretty scrappy, pretty good division matchup, and it's all because of Lamar Jackson's hurt, obviously. Without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens rushed by a sloppy Steelers to win by 2. Baltimore's veterans kept telling their younger teammates they couldn't really consider themselves Ravens until they beat the Steelers. Like, you guys can't really be a part of this team until we're beating the Steelers. Like, that's become a tradition for us, right? I mean, Tyler Huntley went 8 for 12 and had 88 yards. I guess for his opportunities, he played good there. Mitch Trubisky got in, but to his detriment. I mean, he threw 22 for 30, had 276 yards and a touchdown, but the dude threw 3 interceptions, guys. Ah, man. J.K. Dobbins, though. No one's talking about this for the Ravens. He had a great performance. 15 carries for 120 yards and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson, I think is his name, for the Ravens. He's been having some good games recently. He had 5 catches for 52, so, I mean, considering his quarterback had 88 yards, that is really good. And Deontay Johnson, great receiver. I love him. 6 catches, 82 yards, so both of those guys played well for their teams. We have 5 games to talk about. Chiefs-Broncos up next. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs outlast the Broncos by 6. Russell Wilson gets concussed. L'Jarius Sneed intercepted Broncos backup quarterback Brett Rypien late in the 4th quarter. Patrick Mahomes atoned for a 3-interception day by leading Kansas City on a clock-chewing drive, and the Chiefs held on for a 34-28 win on Sunday over the Denver Broncos. So shout out to him for clinching the win. I mean, besides the interceptions, Patrick Mahomes played great. 28 for 42, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks, but, I mean, they won the game. Throwing 3 picks and winning the game is just the luxury of having an amazing team around you, of course. But Russell Wilson, before getting concussed, he ended up with 23 for 36 passing, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. But, I mean, I'm sure he threw a costly interception, as did Brett Rypien. Isaac Pacheco, pretty good player here for the Chiefs. He ended with 13 carries for 70 yards. He's putting up solid performances. Russell Wilson, I mean, he had 4 carries for 57 yards. So, I mean, he had over 300 total yards. So, he played pretty good there. Jerick McKinnon, 7 catches for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. Shout out to Jerick McKinnon. He went absolutely bonkers. Let's move on. Buccaneers, 49ers, masterclass Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy outshines Tom Brady in his first start as the 49ers beat the Bucs by 4 touchdowns. Brock Purdy's day started with a botched audible that led to a crushing hit and ended with an emotional hug with his family and congratulations from Tom Brady. So the day started off bad. I saw him take that hit and I was like, ooh, I don't know, man. Brock Purdy has a day, man. Holy shit. Brock fucking Purdy. But let's just look at the total box score. Tom Brady threw 34 for 55, had a touchdown, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy on the other side, 16 for 21 passing, had 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, nothing super duper impressive. It's not as good as people were saying it was, but obviously, as a guy that was going to go to the Iowa State for college, I fully support this guy's career. He's played great. Christian McCaffrey, fucking amazing game running for the Niners. 14 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Godwin had 5 catches for 54 yards. Not terrible there. Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown, including one of the best stop-and-go routes you will possibly see in this league. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, I keep saying in Madden, the guy deserves a route tech. Like, what can I say? Moving on, Panthers Seahawks. This is actually kind of big as a Packers fan for the Panthers to win this game. The Panthers run over and through the Seahawks for a 6-point victory. For all the drama that has surrounded the Carolina Panthers this season, a resiliency among the group has developed and left them unexpectedly in the middle of a playoff race with 4 games to go, which is insane that the Panthers would even get close to making a playoff run. Sam Darnold played for the Panthers today, and obviously no more P.J. Walker. They got rid of Baker. He threw 14 for 24 and had a touchdown. Geno Smith, 21 for 36, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, but I mean he did throw 2 interceptions. Sorry, and the fact that Sam Darnold didn't throw a pick, it's hard to beat a team without Sam Darnold throwing a pick. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but Hubbard, I'm not sure who this is. Chuba Hubbard, just a running back out of nowhere for the Panthers, had 14 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. Marquise Goodwin, really happy to see him doing good on some other team. Obviously they lost, but he had 5 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. The former Niner, the former track star. I loved watching him on the Niners. But let's look at the Dolphins and Chargers game, the Sunday night game. Very disappointing here for the Dolphins. Justin Herbert and a short-handed defense lead the Chargers past the Dolphins. They win by 6. Brandon Staley knew it was going to take a complete game for his Los Angeles Chargers squad to have a chance at beating the Miami Dolphins. In front of a primetime audience, the Bolts responded with one of their best games of the season, getting over 500. Very big deal for these guys. Tua played like shit. I mean, he had 145 yards and a touchdown, but the completion percentage, I don't even want to talk about that. That's really bad. But in Justin Herbert, 39 for 51 with a touchdown. Through a loss, Tyreek Hill ended with 4 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown, so he's still playing like an amazing receiver. Mike Williams, 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. The guy was catching damn near everything. Shout out to Mike Williams. What a good player. He's such an underrated receiver. Probably one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. Let's look at the Patriots and the Cardinals at the final game of this little show we got going here. On the Monday night game, the Patriots rally for a 14-point win over the Cardinals. Kyler Murray gets hurt. Patriots linebacker Raekwon McMillan was simply trying to do his job, running over to make sure that teammate Kyle Duggar made the tackle on a routine play. It's kind of an interesting moment there. I'm just getting to the box score. Mac Jones, 24 for 35. He did throw a pick, but obviously they're playing against Colt McCoy, for crying out loud. I mean, he went 27 for 40 and threw a pick. This Pierre Strong Jr. guy for the Patriots played a hell of a game. I mean, 5 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. Very efficient performance there. And James Conner, I mean, he ended up getting 15 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown, so that's pretty damn good. Hunter Henry, he got the Patriots 3 catches for 70, while D-Hop, he said he was going to help fantasy owners. I mean, he only got 14 fantasy points, not even 15. 7 catches for 79 yards. I'm out, guys. My stomach hurts. I got to study a little bit for